This is John Michael. You are listening to Fieldcast 001. I recently declassified a dossier on the Empire versus Kingdom operating systems. To help you process this intel, I had the data run through our analysis engine. What you are about to hear is a deep dive conversation between two operatives breaking down the core concepts of the drop. They refer to the source material, that is the intel I provided. Listen closely, the signal is strong. Transmission starts.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We are covering something today that, honestly, it made me sweat a little bit reading it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the usual kind of intellectual sweat, where we're crunching hard numbers or trying to wrap our heads around, like, quantum computing. This was different.
It's effective, isn't it? It has a way of getting under your skin.
It does.
It sort of bypasses the usual defenses.
It really does.
Yeah.
Usually on this show, we are tearing apart a business case or, looking at a tech stack, analyzing some massive geopolitical trend. We like data. We like concrete, hard facts.
Right, things you can measure.
Exactly, things we can measure and manage. But today, we have a source on the desk that feels, invasive.
Invasive is probably the perfect word for it. It's not asking for your opinion. It's asking for your diagnostics.
Right. The piece is called Fieldcast 001, Operating Systems of the Soul. From Empire to Kingdom. It's by John Michael. And I have to be totally honest with you and with everyone listening, right off the bat, my corporate immune system just kicked in the second I saw the title.
Because of the word soul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The skeptic in me went to high alert immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, here comes this spiritual fluff.
Mm-hmm.
Here come the chakras. Here comes the just manifest it vibe. I'm a busy person. I don't have time for platitudes.
For sure.
But then I actually opened the document.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't talk about vibes.
No.
It talks about systems architecture. It talks about latency, input-output, failure states, and root access.
That is the bait, and that's why we're talking about it today. We aren't looking at this as a self-help pamphlet or, some kind of religious tract.
Yeah.
We are going to treat this text as a technical manual, a debugging guide for the human operating system.
I like that, a debugging guide.
Because the core argument here is that the burnout, the anxiety, the feeling of being behind, it's not a user error, it's a system error.
So let's set the scene properly.
Yeah.
Because the way the source opens, it's like he was hiding in my bedroom with a notepad.
Yeah.
He describes a specific scenario that I think is going to trap every single high performer listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
He calls it the 11.47 p.m. problem.
The witching hour of the modern professional.
Right.
Right.
Paint the picture for us, because I think we need to sit in this discomfort for a second.
You know the scene. Everyone knows it. You're in bed. The room is dark. It's climate control, probably set to a perfect, 68 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You are physically safe. You are fed. You have shelter. But your phone is in your hand, hovering over your face, bathing you in that pale blue light.
Yeah.
And you are doing the scroll, the doom scroll.
Just thumbing through the infinite feed.
Exactly. And the source lists out exactly what you're seeing. It's a specific cocktail of information designed to trigger a response.
Right.
Promotions,
Yeah.
engagements, product launches, gym selfies, where everyone looks just incredible. And that specific genre of LinkedIn posts that radiates big week ahead energy.
Oh, I know that genre well.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, because at 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday, nobody actually has big week ahead energy.
Yeah.
They are just projecting it. They're terrified, just like you.
It's a highlight reel of everyone else's peak performance, but the source focuses on your reaction to this data stream.
Okay.
It says you feel a quiet, familiar sense that you are somehow behind, not failing exactly. You have a job, you have a paycheck, but you are misaligned.
You're losing ground. The pack is pulling away.
Right. And this is where the source makes a crucial distinction. It's not a loud panic. It's not a heart attack. It's a low-grade background hum.
Just a hum.
A hum that says, everyone else has the code, and I missed the memo.
Okay, so I read that, and I nodded. I think we all nod.
Yeah.
But then I put my skeptic hat back on.
Sure.
Because my immediate reaction to that feeling is, yeah, that sucks. But isn't that just the price of admission?
The price of admission for what?
For success.
Yeah.
For high performance. I mean, if I feel behind, isn't that just a signal that I need to work harder?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have FOMO. Maybe I lack discipline. Maybe I just need to put the phone in the other room and, grind harder tomorrow. It feels like a discipline problem.
Right. Or if I were just more organized, I wouldn't feel this way.
And that right there, that reaction you just described is the trap. The source calls this the misdiagnosis.
The misdiagnosis.
We assume that if we feel anxious or insufficient, it's a software glitch, We think, I need a better app. I need a better to-do list. I need a better morning routine. I need to wake up at 4 a.m. instead of 5:00 a.m.
Right. Productivity hacks. We treat ourselves like a machine that just needs a software patch.
But the counter-argument and the core thesis of this entire deep dive is that you cannot fix this with software. It is an operating system error.
An OS error.
The source is explicit here. It says, it is not a motivation problem. It is not a discipline problem. It is what happens when you are running the wrong operating system.
Okay, operating system.
Right.
Let's unpack that metaphor because it's the foundation of everything else we're going to discuss.
It is.
In tech, if I'm running an OS that isn't compatible with my hardware or, an OS that drains my battery in 2 hours, no amount of closing background apps is going to fix it. Precisely. You can't productivity hack your way out of a system architecture that is designed to consume you. The author argues that there are 2 specific systems available to us.
Okay.
The one we are all in by default, which he calls the empire, and the alternative, which he calls the kingdom.
The empire.
Eh.
It sounds ominous. Very Star Wars.
It's meant to feel heavy. It represents the dominant structure of the world we live in, the corporate structures, the social hierarchies, the way we measure worth.
Right.
But let's look at the mechanics, not just the name. The source argues that most of us are born into the empire. It's the factory setting.
You don't opt in.
No, you didn't sign a contract for it. It was just preloaded when you started school, when you started sports, when you got your first job.
It's the water we swim in.
Yeah.
And what are the specs of this OS? How does it process data?
It runs on 3 pillars: comparison,
Uh-huh.
competition,
Uh-huh.
and contention.
Okay, hold on. I have to pause you there.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to hold the line for the corporate leaders, the entrepreneurs, the sales directors listening to this.
Go on. Challenge it.
Comparison, competition, contention. In the business world, those aren't bugs. Those are features.
Right. That's the first objection.
Well, look at the market.
Yeah.
Competition drives innovation. If I don't compare my Q3 results to my Q2 results, or compare my product to my competitors' features, I go out of business.
Sure.
If I stop competing, I lose market share. So is this guy just saying stop trying? Because that sounds like a great way to go broke.
It does.
It sounds like a fast track to irrelevance.
That is the logical objection. And if we were talking about market economics, you would be 100% right.
Well, we're not.
We aren't talking about the stock market. We're talking about the human soul, the internal engine. The source isn't saying don't have a strategy. It's saying don't let that strategy become your internal operating system.
Differentiate that for me.
Yeah.
How can I compete in the market but not run the Empire OS internally?
Let's look at how the source defines value within the Empire OS. In the Empire, value is relative.
Relative.
You are only doing well if someone else is doing worse.
It's a zero-sum game.
Completely. In a zero-sum game, for me to win, you must lose. Or at least you must be below me on the ladder.
Okay.
And the source says, progress is measured by movement, not direction.
That's a killer line. Movement, not direction.
Mhm.
That hits hard.
Think about that. Think about that corporate leader you just mentioned. How much of their week is spent just spinning,
Oh, much.
generating heat but not light, replying to emails just to show they are online at 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
In the Empire, if you stop moving, the system codes that as failure.
The text actually says, rest feels like failure. Stillness feels reckless. And I felt that. I think everyone listening has felt that Sunday afternoon panic.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to relax, you're trying to watch a movie with your kids, but your brain is screaming that you should be prepping. You feel guilty for sitting down.
That is the low-grade anxiety the source talks about, the whisper.
That's the whisper.
The whisper that says, do more or disappear.
Do more, disappear. That is an existential threat. That's not just about a bonus. That's about survival.
And that is why it's not just healthy competition. Healthy competition is, I want to run this race as fast as I can to see what I'm capable of. That's internal.
Right.
The Empire is, if I don't win this race, I cease to exist. I lose my value as a human being. It turns professional setbacks into identity crises.
So it couples your net worth to your self-worth?
Tightly. Inseparably. And when those are coupled, you are volatile. You are fragile. Because if the market dips,
Yeah.
if the product fails,
You are a failure.
exactly.
Okay, so if we accept that the empire is this default state of constant, anxious movement based on relative value.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hardware, because
Yeah.
this is where the source gets really interesting for me.
Right.
It stops being philosophy and starts being biology.
This is where we get into the neuroscience of rank, the actual systems architecture of the body.
The source claims your nervous system treats rank loss like danger, not metaphorical danger, real danger.
This is a profound insight that is backed by evolutionary biology. We have to remember that our brains, specifically the amygdala, the threat detection center, it hasn't had a firmware update in about 10,000 years.
It's running legacy code.
Ancient legacy code. Think about the Paleolithic era. Thousands of years ago, if your rank dropped, if you were ousted from the tribe or shamed by the group, what happened?
You didn't just have a bad day, you died.
You died.
You starved, or you got eaten, or you froze.
Exactly. Alone meant dead. So the brain evolved a hypersensitive alarm system for social standing. It equates social rejection or a drop in status with physical death.
So fast forward to 2026. We aren't in the woods. We're in open plan offices.
Fast forward to now, you're on LinkedIn, you see a peer getting a promotion that you wanted, or you see a competitor launch a feature you're still building.
Right.
Your conscious, rational mind knows, I have a job, I have a house, I am safe, I have food in the fridge. But your operating system,
My OS.
it perceives a drop in rank.
And the alarm bells go off.
The source details the chemical cascade. Cortisol, the stress hormone spikes to prepare you for a fight.
For a fight, right.
But here's the kicker. Empathy drops.
Why does empathy drop? That seems counterintuitive if we want to stay in the group.
Because you are in survival mode. If a tiger is chasing you, you don't have the bandwidth to worry about how the tiger is feeling.
Right.
Or how your running mate is feeling. You don't care about your team. Self-protection kicks in.
That empathy drops point is huge for leadership. Because when I'm stressed about my status, I'm not a good leader.
No.
I'm not a good partner. I become prickly.
You become a closed loop. The source says self-protection kicks in. You stop thinking about the mission. You start thinking about the shield. You start hoarding information. You start blaming others to deflect heat. You stop mentoring because your subordinates might replace you.
Okay, but my skeptic voice is asking, is this hyperbole? Does the body actually react to a social media post the same way it reacts to a physical threat?
The answer, chemically, is yes. The same pathways are activated. The body believes the lie. Not enough time, not enough attention, not enough opportunity, even if the rational mind doesn't.
It brings us back to that 11.47 p.m. problem.
Yeah.
I'm lying in a comfortable bed, 400 thread count sheets, safe. But my heart rate is up because someone from high school just started a cooler company than mine.
And here is the cost. The source calls it the biological tax. It's not just that you're unhappy. It's that you are burning fuel.
Right.
You are running your engine at 7,000 RPM while parked in the driveway. The source says, you are not designed to live like this, but the system rewards it so you adapt until you are exhausted.
We are paying a tax on every transaction we make in the empire.
A biological tax.
And eventually you go bankrupt. You burn out.
Exactly. And this leads us to the people who hit the wall first. The source calls them the misfits.
I found this section really surprising because usually in my world, in the corporate lexicon, a misfit is a nice word for a washout.
A hiring error. Someone who can't hack it.
Right. If you can't handle the pressure, you can't handle the job. It's not personal. You just aren't a culture fit.
Right.
Go find something easier. That's the standard narrative.
That is the empire's narrative. The empire says, the system is perfect. You are broken.
But John Michael flips it. He says, if you have always felt like a misfit, it is not because you are weak. It is because you were not designed for the empire.
This reframes the failure as a compatibility error.
A compatibility error.
Imagine trying to run high-end, modern 3D graphical software on a TI-83 calculator.
The calculator is going to crash. It's going to melt.
It will overheat and crash.
Right.
But the calculator isn't broken. It's a perfectly good calculator.
Right.
It is just not built for that architecture. The source is arguing that human beings, our souls, our biology, are not built for the architecture of constant comparison and rank-based survival.
So we're running the wrong software for our hardware.
We are trying to run a program we simply don't have the specs for.
So, if the empire is the high-stress server farm that's frying our circuits, what is the alternative? Because the source introduces the kingdom. And I have to be honest, when I hear the kingdom and I hear how it operates, my skeptic alarm goes off again, big time.
Why? What's the trigger?
The source defines the core mechanic of this new OS. It says, the alternative does not run on performance, it runs on need.
Runs on need.
Yeah. To a business leader, or anyone who's ever had to hit a KPI, that sounds like, we are going to lower standards.
I see.
It sounds like participation trophies. Oh, you have a need, here, have a job, here, have a bonus.
Right.
How can a system run on need and still be high functioning?
Oh,
We
yeah.
can't just hug it out and hope the product ships.
That is the crucial misunderstanding, and the source anticipates this. It explicitly says, this is where high performers get suspicious. They assume this means lowering standards. It does not.
Okay, prove it. How does need not equal weakness?
It's about the access key. Think of it like a login protocol. In the Empire, how do you get access to the VIP room?
Performance.
How do you get access to mentorship, to venture capital funding, to the inner circle?
Performance. I show you my numbers. I show you my shiny object. I impress you. If I don't impress you, the door stays locked.
Correct. Competence gets you in. But in the kingdom, the source argues, competence doesn't get you through the door.
What does?
Hunger does.
Hunger.
The text says, access is not earned by looking impressive. It is unlocked by telling the truth.
Okay, let's ground this.
Yeah.
Because that sounds poetic and, frankly, a little religious.
Yeah.
But what does it look like in a boardroom on a Tuesday morning?
It looks like a leader sitting down with their executive team and saying, I don't know the answer to this problem.
Oof.
And I am actually terrified that we are going to miss this deadline. I am at my limit.
That is terrifying to say. Just thinking about saying that gives me anxiety.
It is visceral, isn't it? Just hearing it makes you tense up.
In the Empire, that statement is blood in the water. If you say that, the sharks come.
Right.
You are weak. You are replaceable.
Yeah.
Someone else steps up and says, I can do it.
Right. Fake it till you make it is the rule. Never let them see you sweat. That's the protocol.
But you're saying there's a different protocol.
In the kingdom protocol, that confession isn't an admission of defeat. It is a signal for reinforcements.
A signal for reinforcements.
The source says, when one part struggles, the whole body responds. Not out of charity, out of function.
Out of function. I like that. It strips away the sentimentality. It makes it strategic.
Think about the human body again. If your liver is struggling, if it's toxic and overloaded, does the heart say, wow, what a loser, let's cut off blood flow to the liver?
No, of course not. If the heart did that, the whole body dies.
Exactly. The body sends resources, it inflames, it protects, it rallies white blood cells, it prioritizes the healing of that organ because the system knows it is interconnected.
It knows.
It knows that a failing liver means a failing heart eventually.
So the argument is that the kingdom is actually more robust than the empire because it allows for repair.
It is a superior survival strategy for the group. It is, from a systems perspective, more resilient. If you have a team where everyone is hiding their mistakes because they are afraid of rank loss,
Right.
you have a fragile system. You have a system where errors compound in the dark.
It's a really good point. We've all seen that in companies.
Yeah.
Enron, Theranos.
Right.
The culture of fear leads to hidden debt, technical debt, financial debt, emotional debt.
Totally.
Everyone is smiling while the ship sinks.
Right. But in the kingdom system, because access is based on truth, on admitting the need, the problems are surfaced immediately. I can't carry this load.
Good.
Great. Now the team knows. Now we can redistribute the weight before the beam snaps.
So the argument is that vulnerability is actually a mechanism for system integrity. It's about accurate reporting.
Precisely. The empire is brittle. It looks strong because everyone is shiny and polished on the outside. But one crack and it shatters. The kingdom is organic. It heals. It adapts. It's anti-fragile.
There's a line in the text that defines peace in this new system, and it's not what you'd think. It's not sitting on a beach drinking a margarita.
No. Peace is defined as integrity.
Nothing missing, nothing hidden, nothing held together by pretending.
Think about the energy cost of pretending. Just stop and think about how many gigabytes of RAM in your brain are currently dedicated to maintaining an image of yourself that isn't quite true.
Oh, man.
Tracking what you said to whom, masking your insecurities, projecting confidence when you feel fear.
Keeping the mask on. It's an exhaust fan constantly running in the background of your mind.
If you could release that RAM,
Yeah.
what could you build? What problems could you actually solve with that freed up capacity?
That's the utility argument. The pretending is a massive resource drain.
Massive. And this brings us to the scenario analysis of crisis. We touched on this, but let's really stress test it. You are the CEO. You've made a bad call.
Okay, I'm the CEO. I made a bet on a product line. I spend millions, and it's tanking. The numbers are red. The board is unhappy.
In the Empire Protocol, what do?
I spin it. I find a scapegoat. Maybe the marketing VP didn't execute.
Oh.
Or I double down and drive my team harder to make it work so I don't look like an idiot.
And you isolate yourself.
Yeah. I isolate myself in my office.
Yeah.
I stop sleeping.
And the result?
High turnover, burnout, cynicism. And probably the product fails anyway, but it fails slower and more painfully.
Now apply the Kingdom Protocol. Same scenario.
I walk into the all-hands meeting, I stand on the stage, and I say, I made a bad call, I misread the market, I'm responsible, this is on me, but I need your help to pivot because I can't fix this alone.
And what does the skeptic in you fear will happen in that moment?
The skeptic fears they will lose respect for me, that they'll think, why is he in charge? He doesn't know what he's doing, that they'll start looking for other jobs, that it's chaos.
But what does the data and the source suggest actually happens when a leader does that?
Hands reach out to steady you.
People rally around vulnerability when it is coupled with responsibility. It builds trust. Suddenly, you aren't the boss to be feared. You are the leader to be followed.
You become human.
You become human. And because you aren't hiding the problem, the collective intelligence of the team can actually get to work and solve it.
In the empire, success is climbing the ladder. In the kingdom, success is finishing the race together.
That shift from me against you to us against the problem is the fundamental rewrite of the operating system. It changes everything.
So this sounds great. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in the kingdom? It sounds supportive, honest, efficient, but getting there.
The migration
seems impossible. The source even admits nothing about this is passive. You don't just wake up in the kingdom.
It takes more courage to stop performing than to keep grinding. That's the line.
That's a paradox, right?
It is a paradox.
Yeah.
We think grinding is the hard work. We think the 80-hour weeks are the hard part.
No.
But grinding is actually the path of least resistance.
How so?
Because the current takes you there. The whole world pushes you to grind. Your boss, your shareholders, your family, social media.
Stopping is the resistance.
Stopping requires you to face the void. It forces you to ask, if I stop impressing you, do I still matter? If I stop posting my wins, do I exist?
That's the scary question, the really scary one.
It is. So the source gives us a diagnostic tool, a way to check which OS you are running right now, because you drift back.
Oh, yeah?
He says you will slip back into the empire daily, sometimes hourly.
I definitely feel that. One email from a rival can send me right back to empire mode. It's like a reflex.
It is a reflex.
Yeah.
So here are the 3 questions he offers to debug yourself. Let's go through them.
Okay.
Question 1, where am I performing for access right now?
Performing for access. That means where am I doing things just so people will let me in, just so I get invited to the meeting.
Or just so I get the love?
Say more about that.
In relationships, this is huge. Am I being helpful because I genuinely want to help, or because I'm terrified that if I'm not useful, you'll leave me? Am I buying my way into the room with my utility?
Wow. Okay. That hits. If I stop being useful, am I still loved? That's the core of it. Okay. Question 2.
Who am I secretly competing with? The keyword is secretly. We all have public competitors, Apple versus Samsung, fine. But who is the person you check up on at 11:47 p.m.?
Yeah.
The person whose failure gives you a tiny, sick little dopamine hit.
The person who, when they post good news, your stomach drops. Just for a second.
That's your benchmark. That's the anchor dragging your ship. As long as you are tracking them, you are in the empire.
Why?
Because you are triangulating your value off of them. You are outsourcing your self-esteem to their Instagram feed.
Wow. Okay. And the third question. This is the big one.
What would break if I stopped chasing rank for a week?
That's the system stress test.
This is the stress test. If you stopped posturing, stopped self-promoting, stopped worrying about credit, stopped CCing people on emails just to prove you're working for 1 week, what breaks?
And if the answer is everything.
If the answer is everything breaks, if I don't constantly remind them I'm here, they'll forget me and the whole project will fail, then your system is incredibly fragile.
Right.
You aren't leading, you are juggling.
That's a hard reality check.
Yeah.
The skeptic in me wants to say, well, I have to juggle. That's my job. But the analyst in me is hearing you say, if you have to juggle to survive, you cannot scale.
Precisely. You are capped. You are capped by your own personal energy. The kingdom is uncapped because it leverages the collective.
There's a specific line about the ladder that I want to close this section with.
It addresses the person who has already won.
Right.
The person who got the promotion, got the exit, got the money. It says, if you have reached the top of the ladder and found it lonely, fearful, and fragile, that is not failure, it is clarity. That is the mercy in the text. It's not judging you for climbing the ladder. We all climb.
Right.
It's validating the feeling of emptiness at the top. It's saying, you are right to feel this way. Your sensors are working correctly.
You did not climb the wrong ladder. You were standing in the wrong system all along.
That's the paradigm shift. It's not about finding a new job that's just finding a new ladder in the same empire. It's about changing the ground rules of how you exist.
So we've deconstructed the empire, the default OS of comparison and anxiety.
We have.
We've looked at the biology, how it destroys our nervous system and creates an empathy deficit.
Right.
And we've proposed the kingdom and OS based on need, truth, and connection.
And we've recognized that the switch is terrifying.
Terrifying but necessary. The source ends with a tagline that acts sort of like a command line code for this switch.
I like that. A command line code?
I do not chase, I clarify.
I do not chase, I clarify.
What does that mean to you from an analytical perspective?
Chasing is an output of anxiety. It's the belief that the good thing, the client, the partner, the opportunity is running away from you. It implies you are slower, less than the thing you need.
That's a posture of scarcity.
Total scarcity. Clarifying is an act of stillness. It's stating who you are, what you need, and what you offer, and trusting that the right things will connect with that signal.
It's the difference between hunting with a spear and being a lighthouse.
That's a perfect analogy. A lighthouse doesn't run around the shore looking for boats. That would be chaotic and useless.
Right.
It stands, it shines, it spins, and the boats find the harbor.
That is a much more energy-efficient way to live.
And much more effective. Because the boats that come to the lighthouse want to be there. The thing you hunt with the spear is usually trying to get away.
So, here is the final thought we want to leave you with. We always like to give you something to test in the real world. A provocative thought.
We talked about access. In the empire, you earn access by being perfect, by being impressive. In the kingdom, you get access by admitting you're not.
So here is the test for you, the listener. It's a dangerous test, but it's a clarifying one.
If you stopped pretending to have it all together today, right now, would your environment attack you or would it support you?
If you dropped the ball, would they trample you or would they help you pick it up?
If the answer is, they would attack me, then you know exactly where you are.
You are deep in the empire.
And knowing that is the first step to planning your escape. Because you cannot heal in an environment that requires you to be sick.
Check your OS. See what's running in the background. And maybe, just maybe, try telling the truth about what you need.
It might just unlock the door you've been banging on.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.
Stay clear.
Transmission ends. That was the analysis. The question now is, what will you do with it? If you identified the scarcity loop running in your own system today, do not ignore the alert. Go to whatsbetter.today and access the steps protocol. This is the KFA, out.